the real crux of why I brought you here, Fortunata. I've been hearing reports that you are once more going out amongst those people and enjoying their music, their company, their drinks.
I'm smelling your cigar under my nose. I'm like, this doesn't seem quite... This smells different than regular tobacco. What, are you keeping tabs on me like mother and father used to, Antonio?
There was a reason mother and father had to do that, wasn't there, Fortunata?
Not as I see it. I'm doing just fine. My portion of their estate is doing rather well.
Our reputation, Fortunata. Our family must maintain our reputation. Should we lose that, then what do we have?
I think these cigarettes are gaining you quite a reputation. And I put it back in the box.
I do not understand what you mean, my dear sister. I have maintained a sterling reputation.
If you say so, but I don't feel that the people are behind you like they used to be.
Politics. Another thing a woman should not be involving herself in.
Yes. And what should a woman be involving herself in? So far, it's not cigarettes, not politics, anything to do with anything. I'm sure you don't like the fact that I maintain my own account books and ledgers and make sure that my estate is thriving.
Fortunata, you need to find a decent man.
And why is that?
You're not getting any younger, Fortunata. You are nearly 20.
I don't have to listen to you in this.
I have arranged for us an invitation to a decent event. I would most appreciate it if you would accompany me. I have found a wonderful young gentleman from Madrid who could be a fine companion, a good family. He even has a title.
Have you already pledged me to this person, or is this truly an open invitation?
It is an open invitation. I would not put my reputation at stake by presuming anything you would do.
Well, I suppose you are learning something, brother, of me. I will go with you. When and where, just give the details to one of my people, and I'll be sure to have a carriage arranged to pick us both up.
Thank you, sister. Things can be pleasant, if we just agree.
And I run my hands over the cigarette box once more. I'm like, yes, I'm sure your life is most pleasant. And then I make my way out.
Yeah, I think that's our scene. Wow. So, Antonio, did you get what you wanted out of that?
I think so. My intention was to get her to agree to go to this ball and meet decent people.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I think it's important to note that if Fortunata later changes her mind and doesn't go, that token transfer still counts. So if you get people to promise stuff, it's always good to do it in public.
Okay, cool.
But anyway, if that becomes a thing later. So I'm going to swipe Antonio's one token over to Fortunata. And we will next have a scene from... Oh, Fortunata. Well, okay, fine. I guess we'll just chain this whole thing.
So it goes.
And by the way, you can time skip ahead, like within reason and stuff, like don't be afraid to cut straight to whatever you think is going to be most interesting next.
Yeah. I'm going to Mama Fonseca's. Is that the name of the establishment, or does it have another name?
I think it's called Mama's.
Okay. I'm going to Mama's. I wouldn't be surprised to find Thiago there. I need some music in my life, and Mama's has the best any hour of the day, it seems. So even though it's probably just late morning or noon time, I hope that I can find that there is good music there. But on my way, I think that I have tried to purchase and dress myself like a less sophisticated person and more like a regular person.
It costs a lot of money to look this poor kind of situations.
Yeah. And I wouldn't I wouldn't be surprised if that doesn't like just come off completely wrong when I get there.
Well, let's hear a bit about Mama's. What's your place like?
Well, so I think during the day, I think maybe the scene is in the day, right? It's a single room, almost like a saloon type joint, right? With a long bar. And there's a big, huge like mirror that spans the length of the bar right behind it. Even though it would be much more convenient to use that wall space for booze, I put a mirror there because I want to be able to turn my back and see what the fuck everyone is doing, right? So that's important to me. But during the day, I think, there's just a few sort of like down on their luck stevedores, and old men having a drink. Maybe that guitar player has managed to drag himself off that boat on the beach and is here playing for a little bit of coin. So.
Yeah.
I come in and I'm looking the way that I've previously described. Is there a room reaction? Because I'm trying to gauge a room reaction here.
I'm not sure if the old men and the drunks have any particular reaction, just assuming I speak for them at this point because it's Mama's. But I see you and I just I let out this golf clap laughter, right? Like, ha, 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 ha.
And I initially have a small tentative smile, hoping, and then it just drops. And I come and sit at the bar and I'm just like, what did I do wrong this time? I thought that I had it.
Oh, girl, you just need to be who you are. Why do you feel the need to do this to yourself, Fortunata? That doesn't make any sense. I mean, look at you. Even a little, maybe in your space too. I think I come around the bar and I'm like, you've got a really, really beautiful figure, I kind of grabbing your shoulders and your waist. Why wouldn't you corset? This doesn't make any sense. People would kill to have your looks, your money. Come on. And then I just go back around the bar.
But isn't that the whole point? Isn't that what's wrong with everything? That people would kill to have the things that I've had?
Oh, I see. So you're showing some sympathy with the lower classes. Is that what's going on here?
Well, I mean, I suppose that's who I am trying to be, but apparently I'm not doing a very good job of it.
Fortunata, I think that I don't think you're a bad person. I just think that, well, maybe you're just a bit confused. That's all.
You sound like my brother.
I let a real big peal of laughter at that. Completely unironically and no self-awareness whatsoever. I say, your brother seems to think he knows what's right for everyone. I'm more focused on my community. Well, let's just say I'm focused on what we all want as a people. I represent community spirit, let's say. Your brother just represents his interests. That's all he ever speaks from.
Well, why do you think I spend so much time here? I want to help.
Child, if you keep spending your money here, you can come in dressed however you want, any day of the week, any hour of the day.
How's that helping the community, though? And I'm immediately parceling out money for something.
Money makes the world go round, dear. Money makes the world go round. You do plenty. Circulation, the velocity of money. That's important. That's a purpose that you serve.
And I think I'm worrying at my lip right now, and I'm like, it can't just be as simple as that. It can't just be I come here, spend my money, and that's what's good for the community.
Girl, spending money is well within your capability. I will remind you that when I needed your help with something a little bit outside of your core competency, you were unable to get it done.
It wasn't, and I'm just kind of cast my eyes down and mumbling an excuse under my breath. And it's actually a really legitimate excuse. I quickly rattle off why the accounts could not have sustained it at that moment. And it's actually a highly competent reason, but you just see it as an excuse probably.
I'm not hearing it. I'm oh, da, 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 da. Your brother's always got his reasons. He's always got his justifications. I heard that story before. Maybe you're the one who's like your brother.
My eyes continue to stay downcast, and I say very, very quietly, Maybe you're right. We might be wrapping up on scene here.
I was about to say that might be it.
I just wanted to say I loved what was going on and didn't want to interject there, but I do think Thiago is in the bar at that time. I think he's like in sort of a shaded booth that Fortunata couldn't see when she was coming in the door because she just went straight to the bar. He's like leaned back with a drink. He's got a hat down. It's especially when she comes in and he sees like Fortunata and Mama interacting. Please God, no one remember that I'm here. So he sort of pulls the hat down further like he's asleep. But, there's that little bit where Mama's out there sort of like twirling Fortunata around and showing her off. And it's harder to pretend like I'm asleep during that point. And then again, later on, when there's money clinking down on the bar, like, there's a similarly hungry look in his eyes. And I think as Fortunata flounces out and before Mama can get back to things and remember that he's there, he sort of slips out the back.
So what I wanted from that scene was like either for Mama to give me some guidance on how I could help the community or for her to start like taking me more seriously. I don't feel like I got either of those things.
Yeah. So that means that Mama then would give a token to Fortunata, but since Mama has 0 at the moment, that means we create a new one. So rather worryingly, Fortunata is now into an early lead and can force people to do stuff with 2 tokens. That. Let's see, there's only a couple. All right, fine. It's Mama's scene.
We're just doing a montage.
Yeah, we're just doing this whole kind of.
We're doing a crime movie montage where like the one character leads to the next, right?
Yeah. There's only 4 cards. Oh well, whatever.
Well, let's just keep it going here.
Continue directly from the same scene if you want to. Yeah.
Basically, maybe there's like a little tiny end coda to the last scene, but when I see Thiago go out, like trying to like look, inconspicuous, I'll actually look at Fortunata and be like, watch the bar. There's one chance for you to have a moment, and then I leave. My scene, though, is I'd like to know, Thiago, before I frame it up, what's an illegal activity that you might be up to lately that you don't want me to find out about? Nighttime, especially, some kind of like nighttime illegal.
I think especially that I've learned that I don't want you to know about is me doing some of the vote rigging stuff for Antonio. I don't know, is there like another politician or like a lawyer or something that you'd be particularly against right now, Antonio?
For me, it's more just like my angle here is, well, we'll just do it in the scene, but it's good enough to know that you're doing that. So I follow you and I find you with a group of your fellow capoeiristas, right? Like doing whatever you guys do.
Mostly just hanging out, drinking cachaça.
Hanging out and flip kicks or something. Yeah, I don't know. So all I know about capoeira is like from Street Fighter. So, so I find you and you see me like coming, like marching down the cobblestone lane.
Oh, I finished the hell out of that bottle.
And I think the scene like starts with a bunch of like these other guys like trying to like oh Mama da, 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 da. And I kind of flip my hand up like shut the fuck up, and they just like get quiet. And I say, my wonderful beloved son-in-law.
Mama, you here to dance? We got the music.
I have a different song in my heart, Thiago. It's a lament for my poor daughter who has managed to attach herself to someone like you.
Mama, you shouldn't frown so much. Your face, it'll get stuck that way.
My face was born this way, Thiago. I heard about what you were up to last night. I know what you're doing for Antonio. I want to hear you say it, though.
What I'm doing for Antonio? What I'm doing for Antonio is providing for your daughter, providing for my dear wife, Maria, providing a life that she's gotten used to.
I'm doing predatory circling around you as this conversation proceeds.
I'm doing what I need to get by in this world.
Mm-hmm. I managed to provide for my daughter quite effectively by engaging in legitimate activities. Is there a reason why you can't provide for my daughter by engaging in such activities, Thiago?
Oh, well, I mean, I suppose I could go look for rich relatives who owned lucrative bar spaces to die off and leave it to me for free, but I don't know, that gig seems taken already.
And I stop. I give you a hard look and I say, tell me what you were doing last night. I want to hear the words.
Mama, I was just living my life. I was just living our life. Me and your daughter, me and my wife. We have...
Cool it. I want to know what you were doing last night. I want you to confirm what I've been hearing at the bar.
I was working to change the system. I was working to engage in the politics. You want me to live a higher life? I'm engaged with higher people now.
Viva la revolucion. Wonderful. I'm glad this is great. That's great. I shake my head. Like, this conversation isn't over, Thiago. This is not over.
This conversation hasn't been over since I met you.
Really fancy a good conversation. But you're not holding up your end. You're going to say the words. And I turn around and I walk off.
I don't feel
That's
like
nice.
Mama got what she wanted there. Am I right?
I did not get what I wanted, no. I wanted him to say it.
Let me just go make a new token then. So that leaves just one more of our cast to begin a scene, and that, of course, is Thiago. Thank you for your patience. Where do we see Thiago next? What's going on, and who else is there?
I think we're gonna move forward to that ball. You know, Fortunata and Antonio are obviously there. And Fortunata, I imagine, looks various shades of bored and unhappy in the middle of a dance, because this is a very high-class occasion, right?
Right, it's going to be like a candlelit ball with huge dance floor and balconies and stuff, I reckon, yeah.
So I think just as a dance is ending and the music is starting up again, Thiago just sort of sweeps in from the side gallery somewhere and grabs Fortunata's hand. And he is dressed in very fine suit, which Fortunata may or may not recognize as her brother's, because it wasn't just valuable things that I stole when I was there in his house. And he's here to... Like, Fortunata keeps running across him in the slums, in sort of the bars, and they've danced together a lot, but, you know, it's generally the sort of lower class dancing that she's sort of looking for. And he wants to prove to her that he can be as skilled and as smooth and as formal as any of these people here. He can wear fancy clothes and blend in with them where nobody notices. I think it's slightly undercut by the fact that, like, the suit pants are just a little bit too short, and I think the jacket sort of stretches across his biceps and his chest in ways that don't quite say respect me for my mind.
How do you want to handle this? Do you want to sort of have a bit of whisper conversation on the dance floor, followed by whatever Antonio's reaction is when he spots you? Does that sound good? Yeah?
Yeah.
So we're dancing, and we're dancing to music that is not the normal kind of music, and we're dancing in a way that we normally don't dance. It's more rigid and formal. And you're, I don't want to say putting on airs, but you're...
Yeah, he's being very stiff and formal. He's normally really, like, fluid in his movements. Grace is still there, but he's very, like, spine straight.
And I'm like, I wish they would play something local so we could dance properly. This is the worst kind of dancing and music imaginable. But what are you doing here? And where did you get this suit that you're wearing?
I'm here because, as far as I've heard, this is the proper sort of dancing. I thought this was the dancing you were raised to sort of revere.
Yes, I was force-fed this sort of dancing since I was a little girl, and, you know, it's uninspired. But of course I could do it.
I think just sort of surreptitiously in one of the twirls we go into, like, he throws in a little spin and a little footwork there that wouldn't quite be accepted. It's how you view things. See, you can bring your spirit into anything.
I think that ends up with us getting, like, closer than a proper dance would call for. And I, like, run, like, my hand along the side of your head, and my eyes kind of light up wickedly, and I give you a small smile and I say, now that's more like it.
He sort of leans into your hand, but shakes his head, and, like, in the next twirl, does a duck under your arm and gets you back out to the proper length for the dance. He'll say as the music continues along there, look Fortunata up and down and say, you know, you really do look more comfortable in these sort of clothes. You may not like them, but they suit you better than someone else's.
Perhaps you're right. I don't know. Her color is up because we've kind of cranked this dance up to the next level. We're probably getting some attention because of that. And I think even the musicians have caught on to it, and the fact that like we are going at a faster tempo, and they're subconsciously, they've gone like a half step faster. Everyone else on the dance floor is like trying to cope with that. But I think it's kind of all eyes on us, which is not necessarily a good thing, I would expect, because we're probably about to get noticed. Somebody who might be employing you, somebody who might be related to me, and somebody else who was supposed to be my dance partner from Madrid.
Oh, yeah. Where is that guy? Is he talking to Antonio, perhaps?
Yeah, I imagine that there's a little group of us, and we've got our cigars and sort of laughing. I'll look over there, and like my jovial smile will freeze as I see the two of them dancing. Excuse me, gentlemen. And I'll stroll over in that direction. Thiago, Fortunata.
The song has ended.
Or
I will
cut in.
You could have cut in. Who do you want to dance with then?
Fortunata. Thiago, I didn't realize you were invited to this party, but it's very nice to see you. I had intended to get in touch with you soon anyway. Fortunata, Don Miguel, I'm sure would enjoy your company. Surely you would find it a little more appropriate?
I think Thiago just looks over where he's pointed, gives him like Don Miguel a once up and down, just...
I thought that we came here to dance, and Don doesn't seem like he wants to dance. And if he so enjoyed my company, perhaps he should have spoken to me while we sat and had our dinner. He seemed preoccupied with you. Are you sure he's not here to see you?
He is here to see our family, and he may be a little awkward with that stutter.
Yes, it's delightful that he brings that to his footwork as well.
Thiago, would you mind if we have a quiet conversation? Fortunata, I'm sure you'll excuse us.
So sorry, business does call. And he'll sort of wink at Fortunata as they walk away.
That's the end of that scene, and the next one might be that conversation. But yeah, Thiago, actually, that was your scene. So what are you after? Do you feel like you got it?
I'm not sure. I don't know if I managed to break through her cloud of sort of naivete and lust.
Is that what your aim was there?
Yeah, I was trying to show you that, like, get some respect out of you because I could fit in with your world and just be in the high class, and all you wanted to do was
absolutely not. Yeah, I don't. I kind of respect you less for trying to do that. So.
Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and swipe one token over to Thiago then.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. It's my turn to do a scene, and I want to see the Antonio and Thiago conversation right now. So can we have that? Let's have that.
Sorry, as a structural thing, when you set up one as a GM, do you state a goal? You just sort of say what you want to see in general?
Yeah, and I could maybe suggest a goal, which I think that Antonio wants to perhaps frighten off Thiago, or you can decide that one. Yeah, I'm happy to ask you afterwards, perhaps, if you feel like you got what you needed.
Thiago, if you don't mind, and I'll kind of steer us off to a more secluded, quieter place. It's impressive to see you in this environment, Thiago. You are a man of many, many capabilities. I'm quite impressed. I would swear I have a suit very much like that. It fits a little better, but it's quite fine.
And I think, like, as we've moved away from the sort of general company and maybe behind like a corner or a door or something, like he has pulled off the jacket and is sort of holding it low to just try and maybe you won't quite notice. It's very uncomfortable when you say that.
I'll motion and have a server bring us drinks.
Just have to say, I mean, I've I've been inspired by your work in the community. I realized that maybe the life I was living wasn't entirely the one I needed. I wanted to expand my experiences, my social circles. I wanted to better myself because of you.
Well, that's an admirable quality,
Ain't
Thiago.
it just?
And this is a perfect example of exactly what I'm hoping for. Brazil, the empire, it's changing. Look, you're here. See how things are getting better.
Yeah, you've brought real change to the streets, real change to my life, at least.
Things are going to change even more, Thiago, and you're going to be a part of it. Parliamentary elections come up soon, and my reform comrades, we are going to find a way to take majority in Parliament. The days of empire, that is so old. We're going for the future, my dear boy. All of us will be lifted up. You, me, everyone.
As you're talking about the election stuff in particular, Thiago just looks like he looks more and more uncomfortable. He finally says, like, at this point, you must have the votes for your side. I mean, there can't possibly be any more opposition. Surely you've lined things up already.
There's plenty of our votes. The point is to make sure there's not so many of theirs.
Are there really so many of them left?
Well, we need to make sure of that, Thiago. This is a fine, refined place that you found yourself in. You should remember what buys fancy suits and gives you entree to such rarefied company. That comes at some cost now, doesn't it? We should remember things are changing, but some things do stay the same.
Oh, don't worry, sir. Just the feel of this fine fabric on my skin reminds me of where I got it from, how I got it, how I can get more.
Exactly. From me.
From you.